Hi everyone, this is Dr. Pritam Haith. Welcome to the course Structure Analysis 2. Today I will start matrix method. In matrix method we have two types of problem. One is flexibility matrix, another is stiffness matrix. Using matrix method you can solve any indeterminate structure, maybe beam or portal frame. So let's get started. First of all, you have to know what is static indeterminacy and what is kinematic indeterminacy. Static indeterminacy means the number of unknown reactive component in a structure that cannot be solved using three equilibriums of equation. That number is called static indeterminacy. You can find out this quantity using formula. Also you can find out the static indeterminacy, that is ds, using this basic concept. Suppose you have a prop cantilever beam. So it has four reactions. One is moment, one is vertical, one is horizontal, and here it is vertical. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4 unknown reactive component, and you have three equilibriums of equation. So 4 minus 3 equals to 1. So 1 is the static indeterminacy. So static indeterminacy is 1. Okay. Suppose you have a fixed beam. So in this case you have one vertical, one horizontal, one moment, vertical, here also vertical, horizontal, moment. So you have 6 unknown and 3 numbers of equilibrium of equation. So the static indeterminacy is 3. So in this way you can solve the static indeterminacy of a beam or truss or frame, portal frame. Okay. So now the question is, what is kinematic indeterminacy? Kinematic indeterminacy means it can be called as degrees of freedom. That means the maximum number of movement of a structure. If you consider this beam, it has 1 reaction, 2 reaction, 3 reaction, 4 reaction. Okay. So here, as this is fixed support, this support cannot move either vertical, horizontal or z axis. Okay. So it has no kinematic indeterminacy. That means it cannot move either direction, but it can move rotation. It cannot resist the rotation because it is simply support or hinge support. It can resist only vertical and horizontal, but it cannot resist the rotation. So it has kinematic indeterminacy 1. That means how many ways a structure can move, that number is called kinematic indeterminacy of degrees of freedom. Here in this case, this joint cannot move vertical, horizontal or rotation. Here also it cannot move vertically, horizontally or rotation. So kinematic indeterminacy is 0. Okay. Suppose you have a continuous beam. Okay. So in this case, as this is fixed support, so it cannot move vertically, horizontally or rotation. So here you are not getting any reactive component, you are not getting any kinematic indeterminacy. Come to here, it can resist vertical, horizontal, it cannot resist the moment. Okay. It cannot also resist the moment. So it has kinematic indeterminacy 2. Okay. So in this way you can find out the kinematic indeterminacy of a given beam or truss or portal frame. Also beside this method you can use this formula to find out kinematic indeterminacy. dk equals to 3j minus r plus t. Okay. So dk is the kinematic indeterminacy, j is the number of joint, r is the number of reactions, and t is the number of member connected at intermediate hinge minus 1. Okay. So kinematic indeterminacy, suppose this is a beam structure, don't forget, don't think about this support. Suppose this is a beam structure. So what is the kinematic indeterminacy? It cannot move vertically, horizontally or rotation. So kinematic indeterminacy of this structure is 0. Here it can resist vertical reaction, horizontal reaction, but it cannot move rotation. So kinematic indeterminacy is 1. In this case, it can move horizontally as well as it can rotate in either direction. So the kinematic indeterminacy is 2. Okay. In this case, it can rotate in this direction, this from this member, it can rotate from this member, it can rotate, and also it can move in this direction and it can move vertical direction. So it will have 1, 2, 3, 4. So degree of kinematic indeterminacy is 4 for internal hinge, considering axial deformation. So what is axial deformation? I will explain. So in this case, these are the typical case where you can find out the static indeterminacy, right? So what is axial deformation? Suppose this is a beam structure. So if you apply a vertical horizontal load, so if it decrease the length, then you can say that it is not rigid structure. So axial deformation occurred. So if in this case, this is intermediate hinge, this intermediate hinge can move if this beam cannot resist the axial deformation. If it is not able to resist the horizontal reaction, then it can deform axially, and then this internal hinge may shift from this position to this position. So in this case, if this beam members is not axially rigid, then this intermediate hinge can move horizontally from one position to another. In this case, you can consider this horizontal component, and also suppose this is a intermediate hinge, my wrist is intermediate hinge. Okay, so it can, if you fix this point and if you fix this point, so it can move vertically. Okay, and if the bar is not axially rigid, then it can deform either compressive or tensile. So in that case, it can shift from one position to another. So you have to consider horizontal movement also. So it has vertical movement, it has horizontal movement. From this member it will rotate, from this member it will rotate. So it has 4 degrees, 4 kinematic indeterminacy, right? So we have learned how to calculate the kinematic indeterminacy. Now we will solve 2 examples using formula and also using the concept. So we have a formula dk equals to 3j minus r plus t, where j is the joint. So I have 1 and 2 joint, minus r is reactions. Here 1, 2, 3 reactions, here 1, 2. So 3 plus 2 is 5 reaction, plus intermediate hinge is not available, so it is 0. So 3 into 2, 6 minus 1, so it is 1. So indeterminacy is 1. So using this formula, I have calculated indeterminacy of this member is 1. Again we will apply the basic concept to find out the kinematic. We have calculated the kinematic indeterminacy is 1. So now we will calculate the kinematic indeterminacy of this beam using the basic concept. That means a structure, in how many way it can move, that is kinematic indeterminacy. So this support cannot move either vertically or horizontally, or it can rotate either anti-clockwise or clockwise. So from where you are not getting any component, from where it can resist only vertical and horizontal, but it cannot resist the rotation. So it will have one kinematic indeterminacy, right? Come to this example. This is a beam, intermediate hinge is there. So due to intermediate hinge, I'll calculate. So here 1, 2, 3 joint is there. So 3 into 3 minus reaction. How many reaction? Here it is vertical, horizontal, moment, vertical, horizontal. So 5 plus T. 2 member is connected. Number of member connected at intermediate hinge minus 1. Okay. So number of how many numbers of member are connected at intermediate hinge? That is 2 minus 1, that is 1. So you write it 1. 3 cross 3, 9 plus 1, 10 minus 5. So 5. So from equation from formula I am getting this structure has kinematic indeterminacy 5. So using basic concept, I will calculate what is the kinematic indeterminacy of this structure. So as I told you, intermediate hinge will have 4 kinematic indeterminacy, because one kinematic, because it may deform in this way, horizontally and vertically. So here I am getting 4, and it may rotate in this direction. So this is 1. So total 4 plus 1 equals to 5. So using the basic concept, I have calculated the kinematic indeterminacy is 5. Also using the formula, I have calculated kinematic indeterminacy is 5. So in given example, in this way you can calculate the kinematic indeterminacy. Sometimes in example, intermediate roller support or external roller support may be given. So in this case, how many kinematic indeterminacy you have to calculate. Okay. So here see, it can move horizontally, right side or left side. It can move horizontally, right side or left side. But the members are axially rigid. Always you remember that while you are analyzing a continuous beam or any kind of structure, by default you remember that the beam members are axially rigid, so they cannot move horizontally. So since they are axially rigid, you don't consider this horizontal reaction. Okay. So only you consider it can move only rotational direction, that is 3rd degrees of freedom, that is in rotation. So it can move the roller support can move vertically. Since this is rigid member, the beam members are axially rigid, so they cannot deform, they cannot compressed or tensed. Therefore this roller support cannot move either right side or left side. So you have only rotational direction. So this member will have only 2 degrees of freedom as they are axially rigid. Okay. So it is very important you remember this while you will solve the numerical problem. Okay. Now in this class we will solve the stiffness matrix. Using the stiffness matrix, we will solve a continuous beam, that is indeterminate structure. Now the question is, what is stiffness and what is? A stiffness can be defined as the required amount of force to deform unit displacement. The amount of force is required to create unit displacement. So what is the definition of stiffness? Stiffness can be defined as the amount of force is required for unit deformation. If you make this denominator 1, this K will be equal to P. That means the force is required to make unit deformation, that is called stiffness. On the other hand, moment is required to produce unit rotation is called stiffness. Okay, so here it is the force required to produce unit deformation is called stiffness. The force required to produce unit deformation is called stiffness. On the other hand, the moment required to produce unit rotation is called stiffness. Clear? Okay. Now what is flexibility? Flexibility is just inverse of stiffness. That means K is the stiffness equals to P by delta, and flexibility is the 1 upon K, that is delta by P. That is delta by P. So up to this I hope it is clear. Now we will solve the numerical problem. So today I will solve a numerical problem. After solving this numerical problem, you will be confident to solve any kinds of continuous beam to find out the final moment and bending moment diagram. Okay. So here stiffness matrix is a displacement matrix. Here we find out the displacement, okay, or rotation. Okay. So here a question is given, analyze the continuous beam by stiffness method. Okay. So before solving this question, I would like to know you that three basic rule. These three basic rule will be applied in this solution, okay, in this question. So first rule is, if both the support are hinge support, then the stiffness coefficient, this is K is stiffness coefficient, okay, the stiffness coefficient will be 4 EI by L. Here you are applying theta rotation, okay. If you apply theta rotation, or if you apply M moment to produce theta rotation, the stiffness coefficient will be 4 EI by L. Okay, clear? So if you apply at hinge point, at hinge support, theta rotation, or if you apply M moment to produce theta rotation, the stiffness coefficient will be at that support, the stiffness coefficient will be 4 EI by L. Okay, and the adjacent support, at the adjacent support the stiffness coefficient will be 2 EI by L if it is hinge support. So both the in this case, this is case 1, both the support are hinge support. If these support are fixed, then what will happen? You are applying this hinge support M moment to produce theta rotation, then the stiffness coefficient K will be 4 EI by L at this support, and here at the fixed support the stiffness coefficient will be 0. That means if you apply M moment and produce theta rotation, no effect will come at this fixed end. Since it is fixed, so no effect will come. Okay, this is case 2. This is case 3. So this is 2 span beam, all the supports are hinge support. If you apply M moment to produce theta rotation, what will happen? From this member, this is A, this is B, this is C, from this member you will get coefficient of stiffness or stiffness coefficient K equals to 4 EI by L. From this member also you will get K equals to 4 EI by L. At this, so I have completed. So total stiffness coefficient will be 8 EI by L, right? So at the far end, since it is hinge, so it will have stiffness coefficient 2 EI by L, and also here also the stiffness coefficient will be 2 EI by L. Okay. Now let's solve the problem. So to solve the problem, first we have to calculate the kinematic indeterminacy, neglecting the axial deformation. I told you in the last slide that the members are axially rigid. That means they cannot compress axially. So this roller support cannot move either right hand side or left hand side. So keeping these phenomena in your mind, you have to calculate the kinematic indeterminacy. Otherwise you can calculate one rotation, one horizontal, one rotation here, one horizontal here, so decay will be 4, but the member cannot deform axially, so this component you cannot consider. So decay will be 2, one rotation here, one rotation here. Okay. So first step is you calculate the kinematic indeterminacy, that is here one rotation will occur, here one rotation will occur. So kinematic indeterminacy is 2. Okay. Next step is assign coordinate, that is numbering. Here first you have to remove all the loads and make this support fixed. So I have removed this UDL, I have removed this point load and make this support fixed. Okay. So I have make this support fixed, I have make this support also fixed. This is A, B, C, this is also A, B, C. I have make this support fixed, I have make this support fixed, right? Now the kinematic indeterminacy is 2, that means here rotation will occur, this is numbering, the numbering I am giving 1, here one rotation will occur, so numbering is 2. Okay. So second step is complete, assign coordinate or numbering. You have to make where the kinematic indeterminacy will occur, that means where, in which direction the structure will move. It cannot move horizontally because the members are rigid, it cannot move horizontally because the members are rigid, so it can move only in rotational direction, or it can move only clockwise or anti-clockwise, that means it can move only rotation, in rotation pattern. So second step is complete. Next is third step, that is find out the stiffness matrix. So in stiffness matrix you have to first calculate the stiffness coefficient, that is K11, K12, K13, like that you have to find out the stiffness coefficient. So once you are calculating K11, that means you apply unit deformation at 1 and calculating the stiffness coefficient at 1, that is K11. So I am applying a unit rotation at one direction, so I will draw the figure here, don't draw here, separately you draw here. So if you apply a clockwise rotation at B support, this is A, this is B, this is C, so it will deform like this, it will deform like this. Okay, because you have applied a unit rotation at B point. Okay. So here what will happen, the stiffness coefficient at this bar will be 4 EI by L, at this span also 4 EI by L. Here the stiffness coefficient will be 0 because this is fixed. Here the stiffness coefficient will be 2 EI by L. Okay. So at B, that means you are applying unit rotation at B and you are calculating unit rotation, you are calculating stiffness coefficient at B. So K11 will be 4 EI by L plus 4 EI by L, that means 8 EI by L. L is how much? See, here L is 4, but here L is 3. So you have to calculate separately. Four EI by L is 4 plus 4 EI by 3. So total 4 cancel, and this is 7 by 3 into EI. Now I will calculate. I have applied unit rotation at 1 and this is 2. Okay. So I have applied unit rotation at 1, calculating the stiffness coefficient at 1. Next I will calculate stiffness coefficient. I will calculate stiffness coefficient at 2 due to unit rotation at 1. That means K21 will be how much? 2 EI by L, 2 EI by L. L is how much? I am considering this span, so this is 3. So I will write this is 3. While you are calculating 2, 1, this 2 is representing effective point, and this 1 is representing applied rotation. Okay, this first term is representing effective point, where I am calculating at 2 point I am calculating the stiffness coefficient. So this 2 is first number is representing the effective point, and second number is representing the applied rotation. I have applied the rotation at one position, so the second number is 1. That means in general you can say that Kij means stiffness coefficient at I, first term where it will affect stiffness coefficient at I due to applied load at J. The second term where you are applying the load, that means in second term where applied the load. So in this way you can remember the first term is where you are calculating the effect, the second term is where you applied the load. So in this way you can calculate K12. Now I will apply unit rotation at 2 point, that means at C point. So it will deform like this. Okay, so this stiffness coefficient will be 4 EI by L. So this is, I will calculate 1, 2. Okay, so what is the effect at 1 due to applied rotation at 2? I have applied rotation at 2. What will be the effect of at one position? I have applied unit rotation at 2. What is the effect? 2 EI by L. This is hinge or roller support, that's why here the effect will be 2 EI by L. So if you apply unit rotation at 2, what will be the effect in stiffness coefficient at one position, that is 2 EI by L. So I will write, and this is 3 meter, so I will write 2 EI by L is 3. So I have calculated K12. Now I will calculate K22. K22 means applied rotation at 2, the stiffness coefficient at 2. Applied rotation at 2, the stiffness coefficient at 2 is 4 EI by L. So I will write 4 EI by L. L is how much? 3. So this is 3. So here I have calculated all the stiffness coefficient. So I can write the stiffness matrix equals to K11, K12, K21, K22. This is your stiffness matrix. Now you can put the value, that is K11 is how much? 7 by 3 EI, 7 by 3 EI. K12 is 2 EI by 3, 2 EI by 3. K21 is 2 EI by 3, 2 EI by 3, and 22 is 4 EI by 3. So this is your stiffness matrix. Okay, so come to fourth step, that is find out the stiffness matrix. K equals to the stiffness elements. These are the stiffness elements, or what you called stiffness coefficient. 7 EI by 3, 2 EI by 3, 2 EI by 3, and 4 EI by 3. Next is fifth step, find out the fixed end moment. So find out the fixed end moment. MAB equals to WL square by 12, because this is UDL, and MAB will be anti-clockwise, so it is negative, and MBA will be clockwise, so it is positive. Similarly, MBC equals to minus PL by 8, because this load is acting at center point, so it will be PL by 8, so minus 37.5 kilonewton, and MCB equals to plus 37.5 kilonewton. Now the final fixed end moment will be what? Final fixed end moment will be at B So we have reached step 6. In step 6 we will develop the stiffness matrix. We have calculated each element value of the stiffness matrix or the coefficient of stiffness matrix. Now we will put all those values in this stiffness matrix. Okay. So here we can write stiffness into rotation or deformation equals to delta minus P. Now K matrix we have developed earlier, these elements we have developed in earlier, so this is the K matrix, and theta matrix is theta B and theta C that we are going to calculate. Next delta and P. P matrix we calculated 42.5, 37.5, adding the moment, and delta matrix is what? Delta matrix is the matrix will be developed in this way. You can see here in one coordinate direction and two coordinate direction the final moment is 0. So the delta matrix I can write 0 0. Okay. Suppose there would be a overhanging at C joint. Suppose in C joint, this is C joint. Okay, overhanging would be there and one load is working. Suppose 100 kilonewton was working on this overhanging, and this overhanging is 2 meter. Okay, this is 2 meter. So in one direction the final moment is 0, and in two direction the final moment was 100 into 2, that is 200. So delta matrix would be 0 200. Okay, I am giving another example. Suppose here overhanging is there. In this overhanging you have 50 kilonewton load. Okay, in this, if there is any overhanging or if there is any overhanging, so in this overhanging suppose UDL is working, say 10 kilonewton per meter. Okay, so this 10 kilonewton per meter and this 50 kilonewton, how much moment is producing at C joint, that moment you have to calculate. So what will be the moment, final moment at C joint? That is this load intensity 10 and distance is 2. So 10 cross 2 is 20. Okay, so at this point what moment will occur? The 20 kilonewton is working at midpoint. So 10 into 2 is 20, and this CG distance is, lever arm is 1. So 20 into 1 is 20 plus 50 into distance is 2. So this 50 kilonewton, point load 50 kilonewton is giving 100 kilonewton meter moment. So 100 plus 20 equals to 120 kilonewton load. So at one coordinate direction the final moment is 0 because there is no moment is generating, so 0, and in two coordinate direction the final moment is 120. So I will write here 120. Since these moments are downward direction and it is creating, this is clockwise direction, these moments are also this UDL and this point load creating a clockwise moment. So this will be positive. clear? So in this way you can develop delta matrix. So come to this point, we have put all the stiffness coefficient in the stiffness matrix. This is the value of stiffness coefficient of stiffness matrix, and theta B, theta C we are going to calculate what is the deformation will occur at B joint and C joint. That is our unknown. We are going to calculate this unknown quantity. On the right side we have delta minus P. I have explained how to calculate that delta matrix, and P matrix we have already determined 42.5, 37.5. So you do delta minus P, you will have minus 42.5 minus 37.5. So multiply this term. First you segregate E. So I take common EI by 3 from all the stiffness coefficient. Then the remaining factor is 7, 2, 2, 4. I have written here. It is delta C, theta B, theta C, and minus 42.5 minus 37.5. So come to this line, theta B, theta C I have kept here. This matrix if I bring in right side, so it will be inverse. This EI by 3 if I bring in right side, it will be 3 by EI, just reverse, and here it is already minus 42.5 minus 37.5 is there. Okay, so if you multiply in your calculator, you can easily multiply these two matrix. First you entry these two matrix, then multiply these two matrix, and you will get this value. So theta B equals to minus 11.87 by EI, and theta C we have determined minus 22.18 EI, and already you know theta A will be 0. Okay, so in this way we can calculate theta B and theta C, that is unknown quantity. Okay, so let's start step number 7. In step number 7 we will calculate the final moment using slope deflection method. So according to slope deflection method, we know MAB, that is the final moment at A towards B, equals to fixed end moment from A towards B plus twice EI by L into twice theta A plus theta B. How will you remember this formula? See here, MAB equals to fixed end moment MAB, that means if it is UDL, then fixed end moment will be minus W, fixed end moment MAB will be minus W L square by 12, and fixed end moment MBA will be plus W L square by 12. So you put it here. This is also BA, so you put it here plus W L square by 12, and here it will be minus W L square by 12. Okay, this is similar formula, just this is AB, it is AB, and this is BA, this is BA. Okay, so this part is completed. Next part is twice EI by L. Simply you put the value, because the AB length and BA length is equal, so you put the L is 4. Okay, now come to this part, twice theta A plus theta B, and here it is twice theta B plus theta A. That means which is at first position, that position theta will be multiplied by 2, and which is second position, that will be simply will be added. So which position is later, that quantity you add simply. In this case, which quantity is first position, that quantity will be multiplied by 2, and which is second position, that quantity will be multiplied by 1, or simply you add. So in this way you can remember. Again I am explaining, MAB equals to MFAB plus twice EI by L into twice theta A. This first position will be multiplied by 2, and second position you simply add. Theta MAB will be MFBA plus twice EI by L into twice theta B. This first position theta you multiply with 2, and second position simply you add. So in this way you can remember this formula. Now I will use these two formula in this equation. So I am determining the final moment at different position. So MAB will be MFAB, that is minus 80 we calculated in previous step. So MFAB will be minus 80 plus twice EI by L. L is 4, so keep it 4, into twice theta A plus theta B. Theta A is 0 because at A point or at A support no rotation will occur because this is fixed support. Only rotation will occur at B joint, B support and C supports because they are hinge or roller support, whatever it is given. So only rotation will occur at B and C. So if you multiply theta A is 0, so don't worry about, so don't consider this theta A, only theta B is minus 11.875 by EI. So put the value, and if you calculate this quantity you will get minus 85.93 kilonewton meter. Okay. Next position is BA, MBA you calculated plus WL square by 12. So the plus WL square by 12 value is 80 plus twice EI by L into twice theta B plus theta A. Twice theta B means twice of this quantity, that means 2 into this plus theta A. Theta A is 0, so only this term will be there. So EI will be cancelled. So don't worry the value of EI, don't worry about the value of EI. Okay. So you get this value. Similarly MBC will be fixed end moment BC plus twice EI by L into twice theta B plus theta C. So twice theta B means twice of this quantity plus theta C, that means minus of 22.18 by EI. You will get minus 68.125 kilonewton meter. Next is the MCB will be MFCB, that is 37.5 plus twice EI by L. L is 3 meter. Here also L is 3 meter. I am considering the BC span. So L is 3 meter. Here also L is 3 meter into twice theta C plus theta B. Which position is earlier, that positional theta will be multiplied by 2 and second positional theta will be added. So will be added. So theta C will be multiplied by 2 and simply add theta B. So MCB will be twice theta B C. MCB will be here twice theta C plus theta B. So twice theta C means 2 into this quantity plus theta B. Theta B is this one. So you can write, I have written interchange way. So this theta C, theta, here I have written theta B plus twice theta C. So this is twice theta C. Okay. So if you calculate this quantity you will get 0. So in this way I can calculate the final moment using slope deflection equation. Okay. So let's start. We have reached step number 9. In step number 9 we will calculate the support reaction. If in the question it is given that the analyze, if it is given analyze the continuous beam, you have to calculate support reaction, bending moment, everything. So if it is given only develop the stiffness matrix, then only up to this step you have to perform. Okay, up to this step you have to perform. Okay. So in this step we will calculate the support reaction. To calculate the support reaction, first you segregate all the span. So I have segregated all the span. Now I will put the summation m equals to 0 and summation fy equals to 0. So if I consider summation m equals to 0, so I will have MAB. What are the moments are acting in this beam we will consider. So in this beam MAB is working, and MAB we calculated minus 85.93. So since it is anti-clockwise, so obviously it will be minus, and also from slope deflection equation in step 8 we calculated MAB equals to minus 85.93. So I wrote minus 85.93 plus this UDL is working in downward direction and it is creating clockwise moment. So this is creating clockwise moment. So this is positive 60 into L by 2 minus RB is creating anti-clockwise moment. So minus RB into 4 plus MBA is there MBA is positive, we calculated in Stokes equation. So plus 68.13 equals to 0. So if you solve this, you will get RB value. Suppose this is 110. Simply this is 110. I don't know what is the value. Simply you find out 110 is RB. Now we will consider summation of Fy equals to 0. So the structure will be equilibrium condition vertically. So RA is working upward direction, minus UDL is working downward direction. So minus 60 into 4, minus 60 into 4 plus RB. RB value whatever you get here, simply you write here and equals to 0. So you will get RC equals to some value. Okay. So RC equals to, you get simply 130 or whatever you get RA equals to this much. Okay. So you found out RB equals to this and RA equals to this. Okay. Now come to this span. So in this span we will again put summation of M equals to 0. So minus the RBC value is minus 68.12 plus this 100 kilonewton is working downward direction and it is creating a clockwise moment, because I am taking the moment about B. Here I took the moment about A. So this load is working in this direction. So this is clockwise moment. Also here also I am taking the moment, here also I am taking the moment about B. So this load is creating clockwise moment. So this is positive. So 100 into CG, 100 into distance is 1.5 minus RC is creating anti-clockwise moment. So this is minus. So RC into 3 equals to 0. So from here you will get the value. Suppose this is 115, whatever, I don't know what is the value. So suppose this is 115. So this 115 we have calculated, RC value is 115. So now we will consider Fy equals to 0. Considering Fy equals to 0, what are the vertical forces is present in this beam? We will see RB is working upward, so this is positive. 100 is working downward, so this is negative, and RC is working upward, so this is positive. Whatever you get, you put it here and equals to 0. So from this equation you will get RB. Suppose this is 105. Okay, whatever is the value you get, I don't know what is the value. So you found out RB value. Now from here you got RB value is 110. From here you got RB value is 105. Now what is the final 100 value? The final 100 value will be RB 1 plus RB 2 will be the final RB value. So we have calculated the support reaction. Now we will draw the bending moment. This is step number 10. This is the last step. You have to draw the bending moment diagram. So I calculated MAB equals to minus 85 and MBC equals to plus. So again you remember this sign convention during the bending moment diagram. This is minus, this is minus, this is plus, this is plus, this is minus. So left top minus, left down plus, right top plus, right down minus. So in AB span, this is BA, in AB span negative positive, so negative positive. So from top to bottom, I will go from top to bottom. Okay, from top, and this value is 85, this is 68. So it will be like this. Okay, next span is CD and DC. This is negative, this is 0. So negative from left end, negative is starting from top. So I will start from top. This is 68. I will start from top and eventually it will be 0. So this is the fixed end moment, and what will be the free end moment? UDL, point load. So UDL will be parabolic shape and point load will be triangle. Okay, so this is negative, this is positive, this is also negative, negative, positive. Okay, so this is the bending moment diagram for the given continuous beam. So first of all, how we will analyze the beam? First we will calculate the stiffness matrix, then we will develop the matrix, then P matrix, then we will calculate the theta B, theta C, then we will calculate the fixed end moment. After that we will calculate the support reaction. After that we will draw the bending moment diagram. So in this way you can calculate the fixed end moment and you can draw the bending moment diagram. So next problem is something similar to this. If suppose this is a continuous beam, and this is a overhanging. Okay, so if overhanging is there 100 kilonewton and this is 2 meter, so the delta matrix will be, again I am explaining, still I told you in earlier, again I am explaining. So the delta matrix will be, first you draw the, make it draw the beam in this way. Okay, so in one direction there is no final moment, in two direction the final moment will be 100 into 2, that is 200. So the delta matrix will be, in one direction the final moment is 0, in two direction the final moment is 200. So this will be the delta matrix. So in this way you can calculate the delta matrix. Okay, now if there is any support settlement, then how will you calculate the stiffness matrix? Now I will explain. So here is the second problem. A continuous beam is given A, B, C, D. AB span is subjected to 10 kilonewton per meter, BC span 100 kilonewton meter and CD span 10 kilonewton per meter. This is 4 meter, this is 2 plus 1, 3 meter, and this is 3 meter. Okay, so in such kind of problem, sometimes it is given that the support is settled down 10 millimeter. In that case, how will you analyze this continuous beam? Okay, it is same to same as I explained in problem number 1, just you modify step number 6. Just you have to modify step number 6 and everything is same. Okay, so what is the modification part? I will explain. If it is mentioned that C support or B support or any support settle down 10 millimeter or 5 millimeter, whatever, some delta amount of settlement occurred at any support. For an example, C support settle down, suppose C support settle down 10 millimeter. So what will happen? So first you convert this 10 mm into meter, because all the value, all the distance are given in meter. So first you convert this unit into meter. Okay, so 10 mm means 0.01 meter. Okay, so in fifth step, where you calculate the force matrix, P matrix equals to P1, P2, P3. Why? Because here if you made the support into fixed support, so you will have only 3 unknown, 1, 2, 3 unknown. Okay, so the stiffness matrix will be 3 cross 3 and P matrix will be 3 cross 1, 3 number of row and 1 number of column. Okay, so P matrix will be P1, P2, P3. Okay, now so how will you calculate P1? P1 you calculate MBA plus MBC in the simple problem where no settlement is there. P2 MCB plus MCD and P3 MDC. Okay, in this way you calculate the fixed end moment, that is P1, P2, P3, P1, P2, P3 value, but here settlement occurs, so you have to modify this equation and this equation. Okay, so you have to modify these equations. So which equation you have to modify? Just point out that here C support settle down, that means in which equation C is there, that equation you have to modify. Where is C? Where is C is there? C is there in this equation, C is there in this term, C is there in this term, C is there in this term. So here C is not there, so I won't modify this term. I only will modify this C term, this C term, this C term and this C term. Okay, let's okay, it's fine. Now how will you modify here? No modifications is there, so keep it as it is. Here C is there, so I have to modify this term. So how will you modify? Just add 6 EI delta means 0.01, so I will write here multiplied by 0.01 divided by L square. Now several L is there, which one will you take? This is C here, this is BC, MBC means B towards C. So this span you have to consider, so you have to consider 2 plus 1 3, so you have to consider 3 square. Okay, clear? So here no C term is there, so I won't modify this term. I have C term here, so I will modify this term. So you have to add plus, here I have mentioned 6 EI plus 6 EI delta by L square. So you add 6 EI delta is 0.01 divided by L square. L means BC. So this is 3. So this is 3 square. Okay. So let's go to second equation. C term is there, so I will modify this term. So I will write plus 6 EI delta is 0.01 divided by L square. Now which L I will take? CB. This is 2 plus 1 3, so I will write 3 square. Next, here C term is there, so I have to modify this term. So MCD, so I will do plus 6 EI delta is 0.01 divided by L square. Now I will take CDL, CD, so this is 3, so I will write 3 square. Suppose this is not 3, okay, this is, suppose this is 5, okay, so I will make it 5 square. Since this is CD is 5, so this will be 5. Okay. Now this is DC. Here also C term is there, so you have to modify this term. So I will do plus 6 EI delta by L square. L means this is CD, so you look at CD, this is 5, so you do 5 square. So in this way you can modify 6 step, and remaining step will be as it is, like problem number 1. Okay.